Hey everyone, it's Jakov, and I'm here today with a new video for Total War The Dawnless Days. Today's video in fact being a battle replay between me playing as a bronze tier Dunlending army attacking a Rohirrim village, or in this case a small town, defended by the PC. This battle serving as a bit of an example of what an early game Dunlending army can look like and what situations you're likely to encounter. A Dunlending force attacking a lightly fortified Rohirrim settlement making a lot of sense given that traditionally, the Dunlendings like to attack the Rohirrim and raid and brave, all that kind of good stuff. So, with that said, we're going to start by looking at the different army builds and then let the battle go on and see how it goes. Again, because I'm playing against the PC, don't expect the strategies on both sides to be ultra, combative or anything like that. I'm not really trying hard, I'm just trying to give you guys a bit of a depiction of what an army build could be in such circumstances in the game. So there we have it, we're going to put into slow motion and we'll check out the different units. So, starting with my army, my general unit was, here they are, the Blood Avengers, which are an elite shock infantry unit, looking absolutely amazing, decked out similarly to the Uruk-hai, except in this case, of course, they're men. Then, for support, we've got a unit of Tribal Hunters, another bronze tier unit, and then supporting them, is it just them? Oh no, we've got a unit of Tribal Youths who are skirmishers. Then we've got a unit of Tribal Raiders, which are their light cavalry. We've got just one unit of catapults, in this case onagers, which we have because I feel that this faction would not have sophisticated siege weaponry. And we've already begun our assault on the Rohirrim. And here you can see a couple of the units they've got defending the wall. We've got the mustard axes. Here comes in the artillery. Anyone die? Nope, they're all safe for now. So, a couple of units of mustard axes along the wall. A unit of mustard spears, which are essentially another militia unit that they've got. Another unit of axemen back there. And then, of course, you've got a couple watchtowers defending. And then in the far back of the settlement, they've got their general unit, Knights of the Mark, which is a heavy elite cavalry, but we'll check those guys out later. Now, returning back to my army, we've got a couple of units of Tribal Levies, which are an early spear unit that the faction can field, and then supporting those, providing kind of the main bulk of our infantry, are a couple of units of Tribal Warriors. And if you see in the back the siege equipment, they're there because I believe they wouldn't be a good choice of weapon for this faction to use. I'd want it to be a much more basic attack using this artillery rather than relying on siege weaponry to overrun the wars. So yeah, if that kind of makes sense, let me know in the comments. If you think I'm stupid, also let me know in the comments. Also, if you think you're liking the way this video is going, leave a like, and also, of course, comment too. Interaction with the audience is something that I'm really wanting to see. So we'll put the battle back into fast motion, we'll see how it goes. And the artillery is zooming away. What lands first? Ooh, there we have it. First deaths of the battle. And as you can see, I'm using the artillery to kind of thin out the mustard axes here, but also to destroy the fortifications. So we've got more units over here, just waiting, getting ready. You actually got to, if I'm being honest, I kind of love the aesthetic of the Rohirrim. So just seeing them like this low tier forces, man, it just does something for me. Also, if you're wondering why we went from the units of Dale to the units of the Dunlendings, despite Dol Guldur being in the middle, it's because Dol Guldur lacks a coherent roster. So I figured there was no point really doing it for them. So until more units are added to that roster, we're going to be continuing with battle replays for other factions. You got that right, PC, it's not a good place to die indeed. Now, we'll pull out a bit, check out the rest of the war. Actually, we'll head back to their general unit. As we do, you can kind of see the settlement, it's quite large. I believe a lot of this is actually, unique stuff that's been added to it. Like in terms of buildings and everything. And here is the general unit. It's a unit of mounted Rohirrim Knights, looking absolutely resplendent in their armor. Now returning back to the battlefield. Any more deaths? Yes, I believe this man here got killed. So yeah, we're just kind of having a bit of a slow battle, letting the artillery pound away, seeing how things go. Looking at the numbers, the Dunlending, so me, I outnumbered the, they just missed. I outnumbered the defenders by about 1.5 times, so 1,600 to over 1,000. So yeah, We didn't outnumber them twice, we outnumbered by a third of their total numbers. Or by half of their total numbers, if that makes sense. So I had 3/5 of the units deployed on the battlefield. I'm trying to say that was hard. Now, I'm just content to sit back and watch the artillery just rain in. Oh, that dude just got flying like 10 meters. And yeah, the Rohirrim have made the correct choice to run for their lives rather than stay here and suffer bombardment, except this little group of soldiers was chosen to remain. Will that land? That was a very close hit. So here you can see the wall is damaged, and we're kind of intentionally trying to punch a hole in the wall so we can push through, and that way avoid the watchtower, which will pour boiling oil on us, as well as also the watchtower, which will shoot us to death. It's all about limiting the defender's ability to pick off your forces so you can maximize the amount of soldiers available to you. And as a defender, it's important to try and pick off the enemy's attacking forces bit by bit and wear them down, so that they've got less than what they need to win. Now here they've blobbed up, which is both a good strategy and not, because it means they've got more active soldiers available to defend this area of the wall. However, it now means that my forces are more or less able to maneuver and do what they want. So in this case, I'm holding back my forces, but that's really just so they don't get peppered by enemy archers for no reason. So yeah, we're just trying to destroy the fort wall, and we're getting there. I just love the aesthetic of this mod. And what I mean by that is that this very much reflects early Middle Age fortifications, such as the dikes and moats and all that kind of stuff of that period. Moats and baileys, all different types of early fortifications, which moats and baileys are castles, but still, you can see the connection between them. Here comes in what I think should be the last bit of artillery, and nope, misses by a mile. And these guys are still somehow alive. And does that do it? Nope, another missed volley. And the artillery is running low. That is one thing to note. So how will it go? Oh, so it is kind of funny to consider dirty barbarian peasants being capable siege engineers, but weirder things in history have happened, so can't say it's odd here that it would occur. Let's follow this shot, and it misses. You can see a couple of the archers being redeployed, and oh, that was brutal, and there goes the rest of the unit. Now the axemen are pulling over, the walls here have been completely destroyed, and I believe the advance has been struck. Yes, it has. There goes a seagull. Which is odd, because I don't really think Rohan is near the sea, so why would there be seagulls? I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking it. Now, they're kind of making a mistake, which again, it's a computer, they normally make mistakes. But still, bunching up your forces over here, now there's a massive hole in your lines, is kind of stupid. The archers have begun to fire, at least the watchtower has, trying to pick off the general unit. Pulling up their spearmen. If I was them, I'd pull up these mustard axes as well, but you know, they're not doing it. Forces are approaching. Artillery has begun to fire. There goes a couple guys. And I believe now we're targeting the watchtower. And the skirmishers are coming up front. The archers are beginning to open fire, which is sort of optimal position to be in. You can see the lighting changing bit by bit. Spearmen getting ready. And the clash begins. And here we see it that the mustard spears are kind of left themselves out of position. But The watchtower can now pick them off. Also, wow, the lighting changed massively there. Did you see that? Bright, dark, bright, dark. There's something seriously wrong with this mod's lighting. Now the archers begin to fire. See, by standing up like this, they've left themselves open to both my mounted skirmisher cavalry and the regular archers. And also, the artillery. Yeah, see, that's why bunching up like this isn't a good idea. Buildings are already beginning to burn. And these mustard axes, they should have deployed by now. These guys over here should have deployed by now. Holding back their forces like this is stupid. Put into slow motion for a bit so we can kind of see just how brutal the battle has become. Also, if it's lagging, I'm not too sure why. I think there's something wrong with this battle replay. But yeah, we'll give it to the details. We can just see it. I do like the colour differential between both factions. The Rohirrim using mostly green and a mix of red, and the Dunlending just mostly wearing vests and otherwise just not even having shirts on. It's a nice contrast between the two. But yeah, see how you can't really zoom in properly? It's a bit weird. Here you can at least. And we will speed it up. And there we've got it. Now at this point, this is just there goes the guy with the spear through his throat. It's just a massive cluster of a battle. Look at the light. That is just astounding how much the light changes. And here, of course, we've got the machine gunners up in the watchtowers, I like to say, given how fast and accurate they are, just picking off troops. And there goes a unit of the Rohirrim Maximum, which makes sense because they're not as resilient to combat as the spearmen are. Any more artillery left? And dark again. Good God, this lighting is atrocious. The unit has returned from breaking, but they're going to go almost instantly. And if you're wondering why I didn't flank around behind the mustard spears, also, these guys are coming, so that's a big part of it. If I pulled my forces around them, these guys would have sandwiched them, but also it left me open to being shot in the back by the watchtowers and the archers. So I figured it makes sense just to let my forces fight them head on with their shields protecting them from the front rather than being shot in the back and also stabbed in the back. I will say the artillery is providing great support, as are the archers. And bit by bit we're grinding through their forces. You might say it's stupid to be wasting ammunition on people that are already retreating. However, the more these guys die retreating, it means the less of them are available to attack us. The cavalry's used up their ammunition, but now they're ready to attack. Right into the midst of the spearmen. And yeah, well, normally you shouldn't throw cavalry directly into spearmen, especially like light cavalry. The fact that they're attacking really weakened light spearmen makes it a bit more strategic to do so. Skirmishers are being brought up. The spearmen are breaking. And if I seem to remember, I brought these guys up, I think to engage with the archers, if I remember correctly. And now the cavalry is sweeping around. And you can probably guess what's about to happen. The lighting changed, that's what just happened. Now they're capturing the position and charging right into the enemy's ranks. And the benefit of this, of course, is even though they are very light cavalry, that still doesn't mean they're not ineffective when hitting a light infantry in the rear. So in such a way, even cavalry can be useful in a siege. I mean, look how many kills these guys have gotten. Almost 100. Skirmishers are now, I believe, attempting to engage with the mustered archers, but the archers keep retreating. The artillery is now firing on them, which is kind of funny. Now I'm trying to remember why. I think there was like a issue just with the actual movement of this unit, like the pathfinding. Because otherwise they should have been throwing. Yeah. Here comes just a random farmer, who I believe is going to get killed any second now. There goes the tower. Battle has almost been won over here. Just the last remnants of infantry being picked off. Siege artillery is out of ammunition. And they've been broken. So even though a couple of units are getting ready to reform, this massive infantry right here is too much for them to handle. And they just kept retreating back, which made having the tribal youth engage them a hassle. And in fact, I think you'll find these guys get mowed down by the archers, if I remember my memories correctly, because I did play this battle a very long time ago. As it stands, I believe now the gates are open because they're ours, and our forces can just swarm into the city while a couple of units take on these guys. Cavalry swarms in, and it's kind of a foregone conclusion, yep. Now all that's left is this one unit of archers, I believe, and the general, who should have deployed if they wanted to win. That general would have been a massive help, but now not so much. And the army's now almost completely entered the city. Imagine farming while a massive battle is taking place outside your city. Also, if it had been up to me, I wouldn't have made the Knights of the Mark the general unit. It's just a case of, I don't think such a faction would have a general unit, but there's nothing else available. In comes the cavalry, and the archers are called out. And the game just lagged. Bad. You'd think with all the money I spent on my PC it wouldn't do that, yet here we are. To their credit, the archers aren't doing too bad against the horsemen. So he's actually breaking the cavalry, although that might just be because of all the fire from my unit ended up killing more cavalry than it did the enemy. So yeah, that's what I mean by a misplay. Well, those guys are being run off over to the edge of the map. I believe at this point, yeah, the rest of the army gets ready to engage the general. And the tribal raiders, which still are close to breaking, are now reassigned to hunt down the archers. And they break. Because of course they do. Keep in mind, these are low tier infantry after all. Well, just low tier units in general. So expecting them to be great warriors at this point isn't that good of an idea. And on they come. And see, this is what I mean, like, the Knights of the Mark should have gone on the offensive. These guys are absolutely devastating on a charge, yet they've allowed themselves to be charged. And in this situation, they don't exactly stand. Well, no, I mean, they are a pretty damn strong unit, but even so, against this many warriors, that's a hard sell. Now the archers are raining down death, providing indirect fire. In comes my general unit with their massive axes to hack down cavalry. Just an absolute massacre. Pulling back out, yeah, there's only half a minute left. And you can probably guess who's going to win at this point. The enemy general has died. And, well, good God, the ground has turned red with how much blood there is. Ten seconds to go, and a decisive victory for the Dunlending Raiders. And now they're going to spend the night destroying this town and doing God knows what to its inhabitants. But yeah, here we have it, people. A battle, specifically a siege battle, between a bronze tier Dunlending army and a bronze tier Rohirrim force. Now we're going to end the replay, but before we do, we're going to actually check out the different units and see how they did. So, staring at the Dunlendings, they lost about a third of their army, but still had quite a lot of it remaining, whereas the Rohirrim lost 4/5 of their army, so they were in a much worse position. Looking at the Dunlending army itself, the general unit got a handful of kills, but then again, they weren't deployed till the last moment. In general, the infantry didn't do that great. This unit of tribal has got 70 kills, which isn't too bad. This unit got 124 kills, which is great for a spear unit, especially a low tier one. It's got 94 kills, not too bad. The tribal Lus didn't do that good with their 56 kills, especially given how many of them died. The siege artillery didn't kill as many people as I expected, only getting 26. However, the tribal raiders did great, killing 228, so they were very much a battle winner. As for the far smaller Rohirrim force, their general got 71 kills, and that's from in a defensive position while being mounted, being swarmed. They were able to kill that many. So just imagine how devastating they would have been on the offensive. Apart from that, the rest of their units did really poorly, with the exception of the mustard archers, who got 85 kills, but apart from that, they didn't do that great. With all that said, this is your battle replay, people. If you guys are interested in sending me in battle replays, my email is in my channel's description, so you can feel free to send me any battle replays you want, and I will do coverage of them given I've got the game and the mod. Hopefully you send me battle replays of the Dawnless days. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It might not seem like much, but such a small channel, it is massively appreciated. With all that said, however, this is your host Jakov, signing out.